And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Signposts Live, where today we're going to be looking at, through the tarot, some of these chaotic events that have been taking place across the planet, and just representing more about their roots, their origin. Are these things that are man-made? Are these things that are natural? We're going to be taking a look at them today. We'll be going into announcements around the halftime portion of the webcast today. And of course, I'll be taking questions after we do the announcements. So again, if you do have any questions, if you want to put them in priority sequence, you can leave a donation. That will put your question in priority sequence, and I will get to those ones first. So anyways, I don't have a second camera set up today. I just have the one camera. So with the one camera, I'm going to go ahead and do some tarot. I'm not doing any zodiac today. It's basically just my run-of-the-mill tarot, looking into some of the areas that are basically already having some chaotic events. Of course, we know what happened with Jasper, Alberta, with the directed energy weapons that took place there. There's fires going on. There's floods going on. There's earthquakes going on. There's volcanoes. There's a volcano in Italy as well, too, that's going on. There's some feelings about Japan, about how Japan is doing. And I think we're going to probably take a look at that one first, just to get the idea of how Japan is doing, and then we're going to look into some other ones as well too. So the first question would be just to see how the momentum is for Japan, because I did do a guided meditation for both Japan and the West Coast. So we're going to take a look at that and just seeing how things are going, if there is still looking to be a chaotic event taking place in Japan. So we'll take a look at that one first, see what we get to the cards. I think Japan might be in the clear. Okay, so basically we're seeing here the first card. This is kind of where Japan is at right now currently. So it looks like there's a lot of support, right? I don't think it's just, of course, what we've done. I think a lot of people are also starting to get the idea of Japan. I've also talked to a lot of the people in Japan through events that I've been doing, and they're spreading the word. And I just tell them, just start meditating, just start putting your love around the entire Isle of Japan. Put that love energy in, let that love energy saturate your entire land, and let it completely clear away anything that may be disastrous that's impending. So that's a good sign. We go on to the next step. This is another good card. Okay, the next step is I feel like they are going to start cleaning house. I think that there's also been a lot of infiltrators in Japan as well too, a lot of dirty players. And I think that there's going to be a cleaning of house taking place in Japan. I think Japan is going through a very big clean sweep that is taking place currently. So far from what I'm seeing, this is good. This represents the obstacle. Okay. So the whole idea is that there still needs to be more cooperation from the people of Japan. But from what I'm getting here, it doesn't look like any impending disaster is going to hit Japan, from what I was told. Before we did this, it certainly had a very strong likelihood. But with the guided meditations that we're doing, with a lot of the people in Japan that are just standing up now and just sending out their love, I think they're making a difference. Okay, so this is representing their strengths and resources. So it still kind of feels like there's something cooking behind the scenes, but I don't think that it's going to be able to get off the ground. I think that there is a ploy to try to create something of a man-made disaster, right? Adronos was talking to the Japan group when I was doing an event with them, and he was saying it was most likely an event of trying to cause a volcano or cause an earthquake that would be man-made, right? And that's what they were trying to do. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it. This is kind of telling me the whole situation there is that they are going to be cosmically denied from doing that, right? There still will be some challenges that Japan is going through, but it's not going to be what we think, right? It's not going to be the idea of a massive disaster, a massive loss of life, a massive shaking up of the entire Isle of Japan. It's going to be different. Potential outcome. Again, this may represent the idea of new leadership coming together. This may represent new authority figures coming into Japan as well too. They may again represent the ousting of a lot of the dirty player connections in Japan, and it may be replaced. So to me, it feels like there's almost like a new empire that's being forged in Japan itself. So that's good news. So I think somebody asked me that question just before I was going on the air about looking into Japan, but I was planning to. So looks like whatever has happened, it has averted a very big disaster. Because before we did this, when I was looking into it, it said, yeah, this looks like it's a bullseye that's on Japan. It looks like something was going to happen, but I think something came in time to prevent that situation from happening. So that's really good news. If there was something like that, we would basically be looking at a West Coast tsunami hitting us at the same time. If you had Japan, like a gigantic volcano going off in Japan, or again, an earthquake or anything of that nature, it's very, very likely that a tsunami like that would come right across the West Coast between Canada and the United States. So it's very, very good that that is not happening. So from what I can tell, it looks like Japan is in the clear. So that's very good news. This is, like, again, guys, what I'm talking about is the power that each and every single one of us have. If we start putting our intentions together, you start working together as a people, start working together in large groups, we have the ability to avert all of these things. This is what I talk about with the intervention energies. Right? So intervention energies come in and they prevent a lot of these big, large-scale disasters. We may not be able to get them all, but we are able to get quite a few of them. So let's take a look next at Jasper, Alberta. Okay. And we're just going to look into the idea of it being, if it was indeed a directed energy weapons event that took place there, relating to the destruction of Jasper, Alberta. See if that was indeed what was responsible. I pretty much already know the answer, but we're going to look anyways. Okay. Of course, we have the destruction card here that represented the strength and resources. So that is basically telling me, yeah, directed energy weapon right there with Jasper, Alberta. And a lot of people are seeing this as well too, especially for people who live in Jasper, Alberta. They know that they're almost getting walled in with all these fires. They're seeing against steel, with the steel frames of cars melting. Okay, all of that you can't just get from a common forest fire. You can't get that from a wildfire, so to speak. That is a focal beam. That is a directed energy weapon that is a point source lens that is shooting off that incredible focused amount of energy. And that's what it does. It melts houses, it melts cars, it melts streets, it melts street lamps. It's just all that's getting melted. Whenever you see anything like that that involves melting of steel, melting of metal, of that degree, that's a directed energy weapon sign. Okay, it's never the idea of a forest fire. Okay, a forest fire is not going to do that. So this is something that was definitely engineered. So first card right now is that we got the Chariot. So the Chariot here, to me, this feels kind of like it was kind of like a warning sign to the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, because she's very much more on the right wing side of things, and I think they feel that she is a big disruption to their plans, right? So I feel like they were trying to call her out in that way and basically saying, you keep this up, we're going to obliterate something of Alberta. Now, not only this, but we're also seeing that Calgary is getting an immense amount of hail. I was actually seeing some videos on this about like hailstones the size of baseballs coming down. The Calgary airport was being bombarded with hailstones, and it was just breaking windows and everything like that. Leaks in the ceiling was falling in and all that stuff. It was nasty. So again, Alberta has been getting hit big time with this. And to me, this feels like weaponization technology. The next step, though, is that this is not going to be allowed to stand. I think there's going to be some exposures coming out pertaining to what's happened with Jasper and what's happening with Alberta. And maybe that's Danielle Smith's next plan, is maybe talking about directed energy weapons, or maybe talking about weather modification technology. I think there's going to be some investigations at looking into this quote unquote bizarre weather, or bizarre natural events, or unnatural events rather. So this is the obstacle here. So to me, this tells me that this was indeed part of the upper aspects of the dirty players that were playing this out. But at the same time, it also feels like there is going to be some action. There's going to be consequences for what they have been doing. Right? I've already shown the Tower card here pertaining to the strength of what happened with Jasper, Nevada. And of course, this is the potential outcome for everything. Okay, so it's going to be interesting. I just think there's going to be some retaliation. I think that there's going to be some. I mean, I think Jasper is going to get rebuilt. That's the good news. I think it is going to go and become reconstructed once again. But Jasper was very, very unique. Jasper was a beautiful town. I've been there a couple of times myself. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I usually go there before I was going to Banff. And Jasper is just a gorgeous place. It's very mom and pop shop. It's very, the community there is just so nice and sweet. You know, they didn't deserve any of this. They were completely innocent. And this was the idea of bloodshed. Right? So to me, this is something that is not going to go unnoticed. This is going to get some investigations going. And the good news, I feel that Jasper, I think, is going to get rebuilt. It's going to take some time, but it certainly will get rebuilt. But I think there's going to be some accountability taking place, and that accountability may relate to exposures of directed energy weapons, exposures of foul play, exposures of weather modification technology, right? So again, Calgary just all of a sudden getting this nasty hailstorm in the middle of summer, right? That's fishy. That's very, very fishy, right? Especially when we're looking at Alberta. Alberta gets really, really nice weather during the summertime. That's hardly ever anything of that nature. So this, of course, is not natural. We're not talking about little tiny hailstones, the size of garden peas or anything like that. We're talking about big chunks of ice, the size of baseballs, sometimes the size of grapefruits, coming down and just barraging people's homes, right? People putting up videos saying that their windows have gotten destroyed with hailstorms, all of that, right? So this is all weather modification technology. It's a weather war, right? And that's exactly what they're trying to disguise climate change. Oh, it's just freak occurrences. It's just climate change. That's their perfect cover. They try to figure, it's the Earth. It's climate change. It's just things are getting out of control. That's why we need more carbon tax, right? That's what they try to do to prove their point, where they don't even bother to admit that they are the ones that are manipulating the weather. Right? All you have to do is just get technology and pulling in clouds. Right? You can get clouds right up from the Arctic that basically attract a lot of these large hailstorms and pulling them down to Alberta using scalar technology, using something like HARP, right? And you're just pulling them in, and now they're barraging the city with immense grapefruit-sized hailstorms. Right? So I'm thinking that there's going to be some accountability taking place there, both with Jasper, Alberta, and of course with what's happening in Calgary. So far, these particular events that have been taking place have been man-made. Destruction of Jasper, Alberta, with directed energy weapons, man-made hailstorms coming through Calgary, man-made, basically grabbing the weather and bringing it down, right? So they're basically pulling it down, right? The weather itself is natural, but they're pulling that weather down, and it's going into areas that it should not be going into, okay? But as I know, the counter forces, they always do cleanup. They do cleanup afterwards. So like I said, there's a weather war going on. Unfortunately, this weather war is going to continue within the next few months, between now and probably well up into the end of the year, until there is a massive campaign to expose it. There really hasn't been too much of that. And, we basically need people that have the larger audiences to tell people about that. I have a decent sized audience, but, just coming from me, it's not really going to be enough. It needs to come from the larger audiences, the people that have larger followings, and then they're sharing this information about weather modification technology, looking into HARP, looking into scalar weaponry, and so forth, that can actually help to bring those particular types of weather systems into any area of the planet at any time. Okay, this can be used for good, or this can be used for weaponization. It just all depends. It depends who's behind the wheel of it, so to speak. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at the volcano in Italy. Okay, so again, there's a volcano taking place in Sicily, Italy. I believe it's Sicily. And we'll just see if this was a natural occurrence or if this is something that was man-made or geoengineered as well too. Okay, so let's take a look at the volcano in Italy. Okay, well, tarot keeps giving me good cards about this. This is very interesting. To me, it almost feels like it's a sign of the end for the cabals, so to speak. Basically, I'm getting the Queen of Wands, right? So this is almost in that sense. It feels like this was something that was intentional, something that was meant to erupt, okay? But there's a lot of signs behind the erupting of this volcano. Of course, we don't want to see anybody's life getting lost altogether. But I think there's an old prediction. I think if two volcanoes are going off at the same time, I believe it was Edgar Cayce was saying that if these two particular volcanoes go off at the same time, that is a prelude to a big shift, right? I'm not sure if he said it like a pole shift or if it was a shift in that way. I don't see us having a big physical pole shift anytime soon. But to me, it does represent a shift of a different kind, okay? The next step here, this is interesting. Like I said, I'm not really getting any negative cards pertaining to the volcano taking place in Italy. Okay, this again, it feels like it's giving me signs of what this means rather than the idea of the cause of how it happened. So it's telling me that everything is taking over. It's like a shifting taking place. I think it's like a sign of the complete and total dissolving of corruption. And that's really what this is for the obstacle, right? The obstacle really is that peace is going to be established to where there has been chaos, right? I would say that this is almost like a call sign. It's like a ringing of a bell of saying that all of those dirty players, specifically around the Vatican and Italy, mafias, criminal cartels, their time is over. They're finished. This felt like this was a counterforce created volcano, okay? So to me, this feels like this may be the major event that Adronis was talking about. I believe this is what it is. I think it involved a volcano in the east, because he'd always say, look to the east for what we're talking about. And this is a very big sign. When we're looking at a volcano like this is telling me that when a volcano erupts, there are going to be immense changes taking place afterwards, right? A volcano is an immense amount of energy. It is a great purging, right? The Earth is purging so much from its core up to its surface, and that indicates tremendous change. Whenever you see volcanoes on the planet, expect enormous change. It's almost like an eclipse. It's like an eclipse on the land, so to speak. So to me, this kind of is what it feels like, right? And of course, we have the crescent moon here. So this is telling me that there is going to be some significant changes taking place. To me, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the entire exposure of the Vatican. Maybe the Vatican is going to get exposed. Maybe the Vatican is going to come clean with certain things. I just think in that sense pertaining to the whole nature of Italy with all of the criminal underbelly that's there, it feels like there's just a big exposure waiting to happen. And that's kind of what I'm feeling here. It kind of feels like whatever is happening is liberating. Whatever is happening is, again, it's kind of like just listening to that bell ring, right? It's like that ancient cathedral bell, and it's like for whom the bell tolls. And that's what this volcano symbolizes. So I do feel like this was a counterforce initiated volcano. Okay. And the potential outcome, well, that's an interesting card here. Let's bring a follow-up card here. Okay. To me, this almost feels like this is a warning sign, a call sign to the criminal cartels. Their time is up. There's nothing they can do. They're finished. They're surrounded. They're basically going to be held in accountability for what they've done, right? And this may represent the idea of sharing the wealth, sharing knowledge, sharing the information of what has been covered up through perhaps the Vatican, or again exposing more criminal cartels in Italy. To me, this feels like it was the major event that what Jonas was speaking about. And maybe there's more to it, but this is, again, he's really referring to something that's from the East. And so to me, this feels like a very big call sign and saying, hey, you're done. You're finished. This is the end of everything that represents your rule or so-called rule. Right? So very, very interesting. So that is Italy. I'm just thinking if there was another area that I was going to look at. I think it was at the tip of my tongue. So we looked at Japan, we've looked at Jasper, we've looked at Calgary. Oh yes, that's what it was. The UK riots. Okay, we're going to look at the riots in the UK. This will be the last one we'll look at, and then we'll go into announcements, and we'll go into questions. Okay, so we're going to look at the UK riots. I was addressing some of this yesterday when I was doing wisdom transmissions yesterday morning. And talking about exactly how these riots happen. So we're just going to get some information from the cards here to back that up, to see exactly what these riots are all about. Knowing the cards, they're probably going to give me some very, very good news about it. So even though we see all these intensities, even though we see all of these chaotic events, there's an order to it, right? And from the subconscious point of view, this is a really good thing. Okay. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the riots in the UK, about what they represent. Yeah, they are definitely orchestrated. Okay. Okay, so this is the idea of telling me that something was conjured, something was planned, that there was a scheme, there was a setting up of all of this, right? This basically is telling me that through the Hermit. The Hermit, again, represents introspection, conjuring things up, getting ideas, right? Kind of like a think tank in that way. And here's an orchestration. Here's the orchestration card, right? Everything pertaining to the UK riots right now are basically, it's a paid off scheme, right? We often talked about riots that were happening in the United States some years ago, and that George Soros was often the funder of those particular forms of riots. So of course they have billionaires throwing out money to try and create these riots, to create chaos. Create chaos, create disorder. Like I said, that was all their plan, really, with immigration, right? Getting migrants coming in, illegal migrants who have criminal backgrounds, who have escaped from insane asylums, who are just very, very unpleasant people to be around. And they were causing a lot of chaos, right? This is kind of like their fail-safe here. It's like they're basically trying to create chaos. They're trying to create distraction, right? While you take your eyes off other things that could be important. You know, we're too concerned about riots. So as I've talked about yesterday, when we look at people-powered protests, if we're looking, for example, at the Canadian Freedom Convoy, if we're looking at other particular protests that have happened that have been organically run, there's been no violence involved whatsoever. There's been very much, it's a family-friendly environment. They've had bouncy castles. They've had kids playing, right? It's basically just a standing protest or a sitting protest or anything of that nature. And it did not involve any riots. It did not involve anyone smashing windows. It did not involve destruction of property. It did not involve people fighting each other. It was a peaceful protest. That is how you know something is organic, right? When it's people-powered, when it's organic, there is that organization that is peaceful. Whenever you're looking at the nature of riots like this, these are paid-off ones. These are George Soros-funded like riots. And that's exactly what they do. They basically pay off these criminals to wreak havoc, to go and create chaos, okay? But the good news is that there is exposure with this as well, to like anything they do, anything they try is going to lead to exposure. They're just going to be looking into more investigations about these things. So, and this of course represents the potential outcome, right? It's an emotional time, but I think that whatever it is they're trying to do will always backfire, and it's going to turn into something else, okay? So this is never the idea of people-powered, organic-powered protests that are coming from the people. This is criminal activity. This is the result of the criminals. This is the result of the dirty players. This has nothing to do at all with peaceful protests, with people who can come in and start arranging a protest. It has always been peaceful. They have always been understanding. They have always been reasonable. This is just ridiculous violence, and it's created by billionaires who are basically trying to keep all of their power intact, but while they're funding this, they don't realize that everything relating to their power is going to be seized. So to me, it just feels like there's a backlash coming for that. Okay. So that is what I'm getting with just a few of these particular chaotic situations. Maybe you guys also have some questions as well too, relating to other areas of the planet that are going through some hard times, that are going through some chaotic events, and we can look into them as well too. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and move into some announcements, and then we will get into questions. So the first announcement I have is for the WOW Tour of Bosnia. Okay, we have one more spot. Okay, we are almost completely sold out. We have one room. I was talking to the event coordinator, says we got one more room left, right? We got one more spot left. If anybody wants to grab the spot for the Bosnian Pyramids and Ancient Healing Tour, then it's available, okay? I've done a couple of videos on Bosnia, right? The world's power portal center. Now, what I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be creating geometry that I'm going to be astrally placing in the Bosnian pyramids, and I'm going to be giving just the people of the tour a particular geometry that will be aligned completely with the pyramid that we visit, to which they can utilize at any particular time. And I was going to actually save this for the event, but what the heck. That they can use at any particular time for healing, okay? So again, what you're seeing here is, this is kind of a rendition of it, but you're seeing the world's largest pyramid, okay? This pyramid is over 32,000 years old. It is older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. It is larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. And that is the very pyramid, again, this is a rendition of it, but that is the very pyramid that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be going into underground tunnels. We're going to be exploring it. And like I said, I'm going to be putting in geometrical arrays around power centers of Bosnia and sending that to the people on the tour so that they can actually use those arrays for healing. When you have a pyramid this height that is much larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza, and you're putting an array into it that has the capability of bilocation, and you're actually having that energy of the pyramid absorbing into you 24/7 with a geometrical array, that is going to bring about some amazing healing experiences. So that is going to be one of the gifts I'm going to be giving people on the Bosnian tour. I will be coming back and I'll be giving some other gifts to the public, but there's going to be some special gifts for the people who are on the tour with me, okay? So everything here gives you the information about the entire trip, okay? I'm not going to go too much into detail because we only have so much time, But we're looking at the pyramid, we're looking at stones, we're looking at the world's largest stone sphere, okay? We're going to be staying at a beautiful, beautiful pyramid lodge. We're going to see some gorgeous nature, Kravika waterfalls, okay? The Sufi temple as well, too. Famous Bridge of Mostar. So there's going to be a lot of, these are the tunnels as well, too, going in the healing tunnel. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a really amazing trip. This is happening between September 15th and the 22nd. This is where we're going to be staying here, the Pyramid Lodge. We're also going to be looking at a couple other hotels that we'll be staying at. So included services, Kundalini and Inner Practices workshop. So this involves Kundalini Awakening, which everyone will be a part of. 7 nights bed and breakfast accommodation, 7 meals, transport, entrances to listed attractions, and of course, having a tour manager. Adronis will be coming through as well too, and sharing a lot of insight, but it's not looking at a tour manager. It's looking at additional universal knowledge pertaining to these sites. Okay. So again, if you want to check this out, you just go to wowtours.de. Okay. So that's just right up here. www.wowtours. That's WOW tours, TOURS.de. Okay. And that is the Bosnia tour. So go ahead and check that out. We have one more spot available. Okay, moving on to other announcements.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions, including the 3 questions by email and distance healing, are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Brianne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Brianne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Brianne's website and book your session today at readingswithbrianne.com.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
Radiate Regen Centers are expanding our reach around the world, and we want to give back through our new referral affiliate program. You can earn a large income referring your contacts who would be interested in purchasing Radiate Regen industrial strength technology for commercial business, as well as private home use. Spread the word and generate a commission of $360 USD per successful referral. To begin earning today as a referral affiliate, visit radiateregen.com/referral.
Okay, and the final announcement is that I'm going to be doing a Radiate Spectrum presentation at Vancouver Science World on August 25th. I know my Wisdom Transmission logo is in the way, but that is for August 25th at Vancouver Science World. So you see this big dome right here. This is the IMAX. That's the IMAX dome. You can see a little picture of it here. And we can fit well over 400 people in the seats. So again, if you are coming to Vancouver or you are in Vancouver during this time, you're going to have a really incredible experience, as we are going to be working with the Radiate Regen technology and projecting it on the IMAX screen. Now, it's not coming through the IMAX projector, but it is coming through a very large movie projector that is going to be projected on screen. And I'm going to be directing people through a very powerful guided meditation experience using Radiate Regen, where you're going to learn how to harness all of the frequencies in Radiate Regen and applying it into specific areas of the body to have an instant body healing experience. So this is going to be really wonderful. Again, it's a 30-minute meditative journey. And then afterwards, we're going to have an event called Anahata. And that is a really powerful, beautiful breath work experience where you're, again, opening up the chakras, opening up the 12 chakras, and having a really powerful purging experience as well, too. So this is going to be really exciting. And there's going to be more Radiate Spectrums to come down the road, but this is the very first one. So again, you can use the promo code RADIATE, okay, and you get 5% off the ticket price. You can find the link in the video description as well, too. If you don't, if it's not there, just go to Wisdom Transmissions webcast yesterday. You'll find it in the video description, but I will have it in the video description today after today's webcast. So again, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be really, really exciting, having Radiate Spectrum, the very first of its kind, and having it in front of hundreds of people where everybody is going to have an uplifting, instant body healing experience. So check that out. That is Radiate Spectrum. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started now with questions. So I'm going to go to the comments. And I think we have one donation-based question right here. And I have my tarot on standby. So, okay, let's go ahead and begin. So again, every donation-based question is priority sequence. Okay, so let's go to Ben first. Ben says, greetings, Brad. Is it true that all kinds of animals are being arbitrarily killed on farms because of the alleged swine fever, even dogs and cats? Okay, let's take a look at that. I haven't actually heard about this, so we'll take a look at the tarot and see what it says. Okay. I would say it's both kind of a yes and no. They're not actually going to farms and killing them off. It feels like they are basically setting that up. Maybe they have other footage or something of that nature, but I don't feel like they're going to other farms and actually doing that. But they're creating the narrative of something like that to try to justify their, again, laboratory created swine fever, okay, or swine flu or anything of that nature. Right? They usually say, oh, it came from pigs or something like that. If I remember, swine flu was like something that came from pigs and all that. But all these things are just cooked up in laboratories. That's the whole idea. So I would say they're using that as an excuse, but I don't feel that they're going to farms and actually killing and slaughtering animals. Okay. To me, it feels almost like they're using old footage, maybe of where there have been slaughter or there have been diseased animals in that sense, or they're capturing it and they're putting it together. Okay, it's because I'm not really getting anything that represents horrifying cards here. This is something that represents more of a hoax. Okay, so I'm not getting the idea that they're going into farms, that they're going to people's farms and killing animals or anything of that nature. I don't see that, and also I don't see whatever it is they're trying to cook up getting off the ground either. So it feels like there's going to be a lot of exposure, just a lot of stuff of their attempted plans going up in smoke, as they always do. See, they are trying everything, my friends. They're trying absolutely everything to rebuild their empire again. It's not working, right? It'd just be nice. You can go up to these people and say, do you know that all of the ridiculous bullshit schemes that you are trying aren't working? In fact, what they're doing is exposing you further. Do you not see that? Can you not see that right now? That you're being completely and totally exposed by the stupidity and the ridiculous, revolting, repugnant garbage you're putting out. You are killing yourselves. Just letting you know, right? So this is what I'm talking about. None of these ridiculous schemes that they're trying are going to revive their fear control grid, right? Their fear control pillars are just falling at free fall speed, and they're trying to do absolutely everything to maintain an empire that is no good anymore. They just can't do it. Right? It's the end of an era. It's moving into a new age. This new age represents the idea of everything that they are. It's like looking at that solidity, right? Because we're moving out of the age of Pisces and we're coming into the age of Aquarius. As you have the age of Pisces, a lot of these old things that they would try would work because, again, Pisces can represent the idea of loss, right? It can represent the idea of feeling abandoned, hurt, okay? But when you're going into Aquarius, Aquarius represents gains, okay? It represents a lightness to it, okay? It's an air symbol. So we're seeing something that is moving much more into higher elevations. And their old schemes don't work. And this isn't just me saying it. This is just the sign of the times. This is why, again, this show is called the Signposts, right? We're seeing the signposts that everything they're trying is going to fail. Because we're moving into that new age. We're moving into that new era. We're moving into a new sign of the zodiac. And that represents Aquarius. And that represents that everything is going to be exposed. When you start moving into the age of Aquarius, everything is air, right? So everything that's been cultivated on the ground is going to start moving up into the air, which means it's going to be available for everybody to see. So they can keep pulling these ridiculous stunts and schemes and garbage stuff altogether. I just don't know if they realize this, right? This is supposed to be an occult group and they're forgetting about this. Shows me how stupid they are. They're very stupid. I mean, they should be aware of these things. But the whole idea is that they're so scattered. Their leadership is scattered. A lot of their big bosses that actually do a lot of this stuff aren't even here anymore. So my feeling is that the minions are trying to run things. The middle management is trying to run things. And they're just very, very stupid. They're trying to pull off the exact same things that have not worked in the past, thinking that they're going to work again. And like I said, you can't do the same thing twice. This is all going to lead to complete and total self-destruction. Moving into the age of Aquarius, where everything is air and everything is transparent and everything is out in the open and everything is exposed, and they're doing this stupidness. This is what I'm talking about. They are unbelievably stupid, like really stupid, thinking that they're going to do this and it's going to pull something off. They can't do those old tricks anymore. It's just not going to work. The people are just so wide awake right now, and it's going to lead to exposure. So Ben, good news is no, they are not doing that, but they're trying to put that image in to try to promote the nature of a swine fever or swine flu and all that way. So it's just their desperate attempt. Like many other things they've tried will fail. Okay. Thank you for your question. It's just ridiculous watching these people go on like this. I wouldn't even really call them people. Anyways, this is from Z-Man. This one here is, what Z-Man is asking is, hi Brad, can you please do a reading on the crypto privacy coin Dero? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Dero, see what the cards have to say about it. We're kind of looking into its lifeline with the tarot here and see what it's all about. Okay, if you guys are really, really adamant in getting behind a good coin, it's XRP. Okay, that's the coin you basically want to bring your attention to. And not to say that there aren't other coins that could be good and promising, but if you want something that is really going to catapult, it's going to be XRP. Okay, in the near future, not right away, but in the near future, because I've done readings on it, and it feels like it's going through a bit of a hump right now, because I'm not sure if it's had some legal problems or something like that. But there's going to be something that's going to cause it to surge, right? So again, right now it's pretty cheap. So I would suggest buying a lot of XRP. Again, just using money that you're not afraid to lose, okay, and putting that into XRP. That is the coin you want to get behind, okay? Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at Dero here. Okay, let's see what Dero's lifeline is all about here. Okay, so for Dero, okay, it's kind of ups and downs with this coin as well too. So this is kind of presently where it's at, but then there's kind of a concern here with this card. Okay, this is the next step. So I'm not too sure if there's an infiltration with this particular coin, or again, the elites are trying to snatch it or something of that nature, because Bitcoin is actually going down in price, and maybe they want to have some other particular type of digital currency that they want to have control over. This is kind of the obstacle right now. Okay, so the obstacle in that sense of being an organic coin may be called into question. Okay, I can't guarantee that this is something that's a clean coin to work with. Okay. This is kind of the strength and resources with it. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups here. So this is telling me that there is promise for this particular coin. It could go up higher, but my feeling is maybe there's some cartel backing with it, right? So we want to be a little bit careful. It feels like there's going to lead to some controversy with this coin. So I would not suggest this coin. No, not from what I'm seeing here in the reading. Again, the only coin I'm really suggesting is XRP. Well, actually Ethereum. Ethereum and XRP would be very good. Those would be the two. Specifically XRP, because for XRP, there's going to be a time here in the near future where XRP is going to explode. I mean, it's going to be really, really big. And I think that'll probably happen before the end of the year, possibly. End of the year, early point of the year. But it's really close. It's certainly not too far away. I think there's an event that's going to occur first, and it's going to lead into just an enormous surge of XRP just building up its stock tremendously. And really what I'm getting as well too is the feeling that there is going to be a crypto coin that is going to basically make people into millionaires, depending on how much you invest in it, of course. If you're investing many thousands of dollars into it, odds are it's probably going to make you a millionaire very quickly. And what coin is that? XRP. Okay, so XRP really is the golden coin. Right now, it certainly doesn't seem that way because it looks like it's declining, but that's the best time to buy it right now, right? This is kind of a setup, is getting yourselves ready to purchase that coin, because that is going to be something that is going to catapult. Okay, like I said, right now, when I was doing a reading on it the other week, I was saying right now it looks like it's going to go down quite a bit. There's that legal issue that's going on, but something is going to happen that's going to trigger it and bring it back up. Okay, so it's in its dip period right now, but that's the ideal time to purchase XRP. Okay, so for those of you who are crazy about cryptocurrency, XRP is the way to go. Okay, that is a clean coin. That's the one you want. Okay, so Z-Man, hope that helps you with your question. Okay. Heisenberg, thank you very much for your donation. Heisenberg says, hi, Brad, could you please speak about the coup d'etat in Bangladesh and how it will affect India? What is driving this? Well, let's kind of look at the lifeline first. Let's look at the lifeline of Bangladesh. Okay. Let's see what is going on here. Again, guys, I'm not always keeping track of these events that are taking place because there's thousands and thousands of them taking place, and I'm just busy with thousands and thousands of things of my own. So I may need to get refreshers from you guys about what's going on. But let's take a look. We're just going to look at Bangladesh's lifeline. Okay, and see what's going on there. So about a coup d'etat in Bangladesh. So let's see. Okay, so as you're saying that there's a coup d'etat in Bangladesh, so to me, this feels like something's a very good thing, okay? Whenever we're seeing this card, my friends, this is good. This is telling me that there's something ending and there's something new beginning. When we're looking at the world, it represents fulfillment, it represents completion. I'm not sure if Bangladesh is looking to become a sovereign nation itself. It certainly looks that way. Feels like it's throwing off some old bonds. Right, so there's again aspects of death. So this is telling me that great change is taking place, great transformation is taking place. I don't think it's as sour as people are making it out to be. Maybe it is. It just depends on your perspective. Okay. The obstacle really is again the embezzlers. The embezzlers in that sense are basically being cut off. Right. So to me, it feels like there's a cleanup taking place in Bangladesh. I'm not too sure if this coup d'etat is something that is counterforce related. It certainly looks that way. Okay. And then, of course, we're looking into a maturity cycle. Okay. So we're looking at something that represents a great maturity, a strength. It feels like Bangladesh is starting to move into becoming a sovereign nation. Okay. This is something really, really good from what I can see. Then, of course, we have the potential outcome, and I'm just going to look a little bit more into the future. But it looks like there are still going to be some side effects. Okay, so this is the potential outcome for the people of Bangladesh, is feeling like their hands are tied. I'm not too sure if it's referring to the government. I'm not sure if it's referring to the criminal cartels. But something is going to kind of keep it at a standstill for a bit of time, not too much. But it feels like it's going to be led into a state of unity. Okay, so whatever is happening in Bangladesh, I feel like it's almost like a cutting loose. I feel like I said it's cutting dry a lot of old criminal cartels that are in Bangladesh. Okay, and it feels like there's going to be some heavy trudging ahead because there's going to be some heavy exposures. There may be again ousting of leaders in that way. But to me, it feels like this is something for the better. Let's pull one more card here. Oh yeah, it looks like wealth and wellness is going to be coming back to Bangladesh. But I'm really looking at something here that's going to probably play itself out for the next several months. Okay. Not something that's going to happen right away. But this is really the card I kind of focus on, is where you guys are right now. Okay. Whatever this coup d'etat is, it feels like it's a good thing. Okay. Everybody will have their own perspective on it. But from what I'm seeing here, there's a struggle here. But again, I'm not too sure if this is relating to the people or if it's relating to the criminal cartels. I'm not really getting a clear answer on that. Let me go ahead and take a look at my intuition here to see what Bangladesh is going through. A lot of exposure. Yeah, a lot of people who thought they were safe, that are criminals, that are now going to get exposed. It feels like there's going to be exposures, there's going to be arrests, there's going to be taking downs, there's going to be resignations. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. I feel like this is more of a political card. Okay, so arrests, right? Getting shackled, being taken away, their hands bound in that way. This is, I feel, I was referring to the criminals. Okay, I'll even pull a card to confirm that. Yes, perfect. This is exactly what's happening. Okay, so this is what this is representing. It is basically bringing law and order. It is bringing peace. It is diffusing a situation that was volatile. Okay, so that's the feeling I'm getting for Bangladesh. So I would say, do not worry, my friend. Whatever is happening with Bangladesh is going to be a very, very good thing. Okay. How will it affect India? Well, I think that's probably another reading that we'd have to do in the future. But let's see exactly how things go with Bangladesh first. You can always come back to me at a later time, because I think we have to let this kind of play out first. As it plays out, then we can probably look into about what this does for India. I get the feeling, unfortunately, India is going to have a lot of divisions. Okay. There's a lot of people in India that basically want to branch off, and they want to have their own sovereign nations from India. India is going to have a lot of that trouble. Okay, so I think India is going to need to work a lot more harmoniously to try and bring its people back together, because it's very much in a state of division right now. Okay, so yes, it feels like Bangladesh is looking to become its own sovereign nation. It looks like it's trying to move in that way. And so, of course, they've had some problems with that before, where India just feels like it's getting divided and the people need to start coming together. I really don't know what India's future is going to be. But like I said, I just keep feeling like there's these extra branches that are coming upon the Indian tree, right? Where there's going to be more and more of these divisions with India. And that's something that India will have to settle. Okay, that's kind of the feeling I'm getting just intuitively right now. All right. Thank you very much, Heisenberg. Okay, Sandy, I got your donation, but I didn't get a question, so maybe I'll check on you here in a minute. Okay, let's go to Grow. Grow says, on August 29th, the daughter of the Norwegian royal couple will marry an American named Durek. Will it come to fruition, guys? As I said, the royal family is not the royal family. Okay, this is all hogwash, and this is basically all drama together, right? So to me, this just feels like something written in a script, something that's basically trying to bring about a political motivation. Okay, so let's take a look here. We'll look at the lifeline of it, but like I said, the royal families, guys, are nothing but a soap opera. That's what I see. Like even if I'm going to the grocery store and I'm seeing all these tabloids, the royal family this and the royal family that, like this is such a soap opera, right? None of this is real. The whole idea of the royal families is that they are basically criminal cartels. They are the biggest entity responsible for child trafficking. They are the biggest entity responsible for sex trafficking. They are the biggest entity responsible for drug trafficking. Okay, they have all kinds of horrible charges against them, and not just the British royal family. I'm talking about many of the other ones. They're all part of it. They're conglomerates together with this. And whenever you look at royals, basically looking at pedophiles. When you're looking at royals, you're basically looking at criminals. You're looking at, again, just nasty, nasty people. So this, I feel, is going to lead to, again, just playing out a soap opera. They're going to have stand-ins intact, and they're basically going to move certain forms of events together in political favor. Okay, it's a political melodrama, my friends. The best thing to do is not focus on this stuff. But you're here, you want to focus on it, so we'll do it. But that's the whole idea. So don't worry about getting too caught up in this stuff. But let's take a look at the Norwegian royal couple will marry an American named Durek. The royal couple. I'm sure you mean. Okay, I guess a Norwegian royal is going to marry an American, and that will make them into a couple. Okay, will it come into fruition? I can never really guarantee that these things come into fruition, but we'll look into them and see what the lifeline is of this. Okay, so the Norwegian couple that's looking to marry an American. Okay. All signs are pointing to yes. Okay, so basically, feels like again there's a couple fusion coming together here. But again, I'm feeling this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This may lead into something else, big change. Like I said, it's political motivation. I don't think it's even something that's particularly, legitimate. It just feels like a soap opera. But it's basically, I'd say, kind of like bringing the West to the East. Okay. But I'm not getting any bad cards pertaining to this. This is all very, very positive. Okay. But this is also representing the obstacle. The obstacle, I should say, is temperance. Okay. There's going to be a lot of people outraged about this. There's going to be a lot of people that are pissed off about this, about bringing a foreigner in and basically marrying this person and having this person in regards to, America coming into Norway and having say about Norwegian affairs. So it's going to piss off a lot of people. Okay. But the good news is, like I said, I think this is something that is a strength. I think this is something that is actually going to lead into kind of like a balancing, because that's what the temperance is suggesting here. It is going to lead into a balancing, but people won't see it that way. Okay. And then we'll see the potential outcome. Perhaps there's pregnancy. There may be pregnancy involved. So they may again be having a family together. And again, another little, well, I don't want to use the word prince or princess, but the staged prince or princess and all that is just, I don't know. I don't know how people just get so hung up on this BS about royal families and stuff like that. Like, to me, it's regurgitating. But they're still playing that off because there's so many people interested, right? There's a platform there, right? They want to use that platform pertaining to the benefit, but all the cards that I saw are pretty much positive. Okay. So will it come to fruition? It certainly looks that way. I can never put a 100% stamp guarantee on it, but from the cards that I'm seeing here grow, yes, has a very, very good opportunity to come into fruition. Okay. Thank you for your question. Okay, let's go to Alejandra. Thank you for your donation. Alejandra says, here in CA, we had a 5.2 earthquake, still having aftershocks, lost count after 60, all happening in the same area. Are we expecting a big one? Okay, the funny thing is Brienne actually predicted this earthquake the day before it happened. Okay, her and I were doing a lot of right brain work, and she was putting on her mask, her eye mask, and she was actually seeing an earthquake. And I think she was seeing it around California as well too. So she was able to predict that. This is why I say, guys, Brienne is really, really good. You need to do sessions with her, right? She's outstanding. Okay? Out of a lot of the psychics that I've met, I'm not just boasting about my partner, but she is really, really, really good and really, really, really accurate. Okay. So if you guys want to have a really good tarot reading, you go to Brienne. Normally I would suggest Janine or Isabella, but they don't do readings, right, because of their experience. But I would say Brienne is well within their league, right, because she is just an exceptional, accurate psychic reader, and she's doing readings, right? Talk to her, right? Go to readings with Brienne.com, book a session with her, because she predicted this earthquake the day before it happened. Okay, so in California, they had a 5.2 earthquake. We've also had some earthquakes up here in BC that surround the Tofino area. We even had one that was at a 6.0 on the Richter scale, but it wasn't in a dangerous area. It wasn't basically causing any damage to any property because it was more out by the ocean. Okay, and it's basically hitting banks that really didn't have a lot of people in it. So, and I think it was much more deeper underwater as well too. So we've had some earthquakes here in BC. So we'll take a look at that. There are people that are suggesting that a big one is about to hit California. Okay, but let's take a look at that. And this is why, again, as I said, we just need to come together and start doing some inner work and start sending love to California, because as much as these predictions happen, guys, as I've said, they've been predicting since the early 1990s of a big one in California. And it's true that we are in an astrological opportunity for that to happen, but we're also in an astrological opportunity to start coming together and start putting groups together and start sending love to areas that are compromised relating to earthquake activity. Okay, we all have the capability to it, right? We go into our own areas and we send love to them. Then we start expanding across the globe and we start sending love there as well too. Okay, I'm just giving you guys this reminder, because that's how you can change these things, rather than being here and going, oh, right? We go within, we start putting that love energy in there, and maybe I'll lead a very brief meditation for California after I'm done this question here. Okay, and we'll do kind of a quick one, but a very powerful one at the same time. Okay, so don't be a nail biter. Okay, whenever you see these situations happening, let's work together. Let's be problem solvers, right? Don't chip away your nails, biting away. Oh my God, the big one. Blah, blah, blah. Guys, we have the ability to avert it. Look at Japan. Japan was being predicted horrible doom, and now it's clean as a whistle. How did we do that? Ourselves, through the power that we have within. That's what I'm telling you guys. You have the power within to change everything, especially when we come together in groups and we do it. Does that sound good? So I'd like many of you to join me after we're done this question. Okay, we'll do a quick guided meditation for California. Okay, and we will avert the big one. Okay, we will do that. So let's go ahead and see. I'm not sensing anything pertaining to a big one. Okay, so I think that was about as big as it's going to get. There might be some aftershocks and stuff like that, but no, I'm not getting anything in regards to a big one, maybe because that's what we're about to do. What we're about to do is clean the tectonics of California like that. Okay, and I just need you guys behind me because that's what's going to bring about the energy. Okay, and working together and cleaning out the tectonics. Nothing is ever set in stone, even if it's astrological predictions. Astrological predictions are just triggers. If there's nothing within that particular zone that would get affected pertaining to that trigger, no trigger will be done, right? It'll pull the trigger, but there's nothing there. And that's what I'm proposing for all of us to do, okay? So what I'm getting here is that California is safe, okay? California, of course, has had its quakes in the past, but I'm not getting anything here that is detrimental, right? You may get little shakeups, you may get little tremors, you may get little, fluctuations here and there of earthquakes, but I'm not seeing, like an 8 or a 9 or anything of that nature. There will be some fluctuations here and there, but I'm not getting anything disastrous. Okay, so here we go. This again represents the obstacle card, but again, it's leading into the prelude of endings. What we do here and now really makes a difference. That's why this is kind of up in the air. So are we gonna change this? Are we going to take a stand, work together? And if I have to lead you guys, then that's what I'll do. But I want you to pass this on. Okay. So when we get into the meditation here, please be aware of the timestamp on the video. Okay. Look at your timestamp right now. Remember that. Okay. And that is where you pass it on and say, okay, this guy named Brad, he's doing a meditation to help with California to prevent any further earthquakes of a large nature that are going to happen. Please do it with him. Okay. Can you guys promise me that you'll go out and you'll tell people about that? The reason why I'm asking is because we want to get a lot of people behind this. Okay. Please make me a promise. And just, even if you're just sharing this part of the video, pass it on. Pass it on to your social media, pass it on to your lists, tell people about it. If we want to avert any big earthquakes from California, this is the way to do it together. Okay. Not just me, not just a few people, but as many people as we can get to work and assist on this. Okay. So again, this represents the strengths and resources. Well, again, here's the power of the people, right? People grounded, people coming together, people working together. Okay. So the Queen of Pentacles here, this is telling me that again, there's still there's precious value, there's precious energy, there's that precious earth energy that's so strong in California. Okay. And all we're doing is we're just calling it forward and letting that energy buffer the plates, the tectonic plates. Okay. You guys are home free. Okay. Like I said, I think this may just be based on what we're about to do. Okay. But you are home free. Okay. I do not see any devastating earthquakes hitting San Francisco or San Diego or San Luis Obispo or anything with a San in it. Okay. So, are you guys ready? You ready to do this little brief meditation with me? Because it's very simple. It should only take us just under a few minutes. Okay. Now, look at your timestamp. Look at the timestamp on the video right now. Okay. I don't have it here, so I'm relying on you guys to keep track of it. Okay. So get yourselves nice and comfortable. Keep the spine nice and straight. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in and out, into the nose, out to the mouth. Okay. Inhale. And out. All we're doing is we're just cleansing breaths. We're just settling ourselves down. Okay, inhale. Third time. Okay, now we're going to go into heart rate variability. We're going to do 6 rounds of this. So 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Okay, so inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax. Now within your mind, I want you to see yourselves just like you're hovering above the state of California. Okay, so you're just seeing the state of California. If you're not too good visually, I just want you to feel like you're there. Just like you're floating about 5,000 to 7,000 feet above, maybe even now going up to about 10,000 feet. Okay, but you're just hovering above California. Okay, if you want to go higher, you can even go higher. And just move up higher to the point where you can see the entire state of California within your perception. Okay, so maybe going up to 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet, 40,000 feet, 50,000 feet, etc. Just so you're seeing the state of California. Okay. And all I want you to do right now is I want you just to hold out your hands like this. This is what we call the transmission posture. Okay. Both of your hands are held out, and I want you just to tune into the heart. Okay. And I want you to think of a really, really positive thought as you look down at California. Okay. Because you're looking at it from a sky view. I want you just to see how beautiful it is from where you are. I want you just to look at the beautiful land of California, looking at the state of California, but really just looking at the land, looking at all of the nature, looking at all of the animals, looking at all the life upon the state of California. I want you to bring in a really beautiful thought. Okay? Say something very beautiful about California right now, regarding its nature, regarding its animals, regarding its life, regarding anything that you feel. It represents something very positive and very loving. Once you have that thought, let that thought come out through the heart. Just like the heart is opening up like a flower, and the energy that's coming through the heart is that positive thought. Okay? I want you to make that thought even bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you see this big energy ball that is filling the heart. And now you're going to let that energy disperse through the arms and coming out through the hands. Okay? And I want you now just to radiate all of that pure loving energy down upon the state of California. Just raining it down and watching all of California become illuminated with this beautiful golden white light. Okay, and all I want you all to do is I want you just to keep doing that. Okay, just keep flowing with all of that energy, your loving intention being placed upon the state of California. Okay. This is the power of your positive thought. This is the power of your positive energy. This is the power of your love. This is the power of your compassion. Put it all into the state of California. Okay, illuminate it. Make it vibrant with that energy. Okay. So I want you just to keep sending that loving energy to California. Okay, everybody. So now just taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. Just bringing your hands to your heart. And I want you just to give your love and blessings to California. Give love and blessings to this beautiful land. Give love and blessings to the nature, to the animals, to everything that is pure, loving, nurturing, beautiful. Just give it your love. As you ground yourself back in, and we're going to take one last deep breath in to finalize that grounding. Inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, you can come on back and open your eyes. Okay. So please, everybody, share that point of this video. Share that part. Okay. That will be a big, big help. Okay. And all we're really doing is we're just gathering all of that energy. We're putting it into the state of California. We're putting it deeply into the tectonics, and we're preventing any form of heavy earthquake to hit that state. Okay. So it is done. Please share this. Thank you so much. Okay. So that is all for the donation-based questions. We got about 15 minutes left, so I'm just going to go to the, unless there's any other donation-based questions that come up, I should say. But we're going to go ahead and go into the other questions that are non-donation based. So let me just start off here at the top. Okay, this one here is from Celia. Celia says, "Hi, Brad. Was the massive flooding in the Philippines caused by natural storm Karina, or was this man-made?" By natural storm Karina, or was this man-made? Okay, so let's just say if the floodings were man-made. We're just going to ask if the floodings were man-made, and we'll see what questions or what insights come up here by looking at the lifeline of the Philippines. Again, we're seeing all of these intense, chaotic events all over the planet. But like I said, even though they look horrible, it is all part of a greater change that's going to be, in the long run, beneficial. So the feeling I got is that it was an amplified storm. Okay, so the natural storm Karina felt like it was juiced up. Okay, so it's true to say that the natural storm Karina was basically responsible, but it was amplified in that way. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. Of course, we're seeing the flooding waters here as well too. And like I said, I'm kind of seeing the man here with the paddle, or whatever you call it, stirring up the water in that way. So to me, it feels like it was kind of man-made, not completely, but just amplified, right? Then of course we have the next step here, which is the Page of Pentacles. So to me, I'm just going to kind of tune in because I want to look into this a little bit more from what I'm getting here about the man-made storm. It just feels like a cleaning. It just feels like there's just this big cleansing that's taking place. The entire world is just cleaning herself up. She's just cleansing, cleansing, cleansing. Now, of course, a lot of the psychopaths will come behind those storms and they'll try to juice it up a lot more. But the feeling is that everything that represents the Philippines itself will continue. But again, every time that these storms happen, there is a tremendous release coming together. So to me, it feels like there's some protection there at the same time. Even though it was juiced up, it feels like there's some protection, there's some support, there's some help. taking place, intervention energies, as I say. But of course, that also represents the obstacle. So the obstacle in that sense is that there's going to be cleanup. There's going to be rebuilding. There's going to be restructuring. Here is the strength and resources card. So certain things are being put to rest. Certain things are being cleansed. It is a cleaning that's taking place here. But again, with the potential outcome, this is leading to a new world, right? Everything pertaining to this, we don't want to see these things happen. We don't want to see these floods. We don't want to see these earthquakes. We don't want to see these fires. We don't want to see these tornadoes. We don't want to see these hurricanes. We don't want to see these volcanoes. We don't want to see these horrendous weather patterns, but it's all part of a cleaning. It's like taking a vacuum cleaner and you're just soaking up a lot of the grime and dirt and filth of the earth. And that is exactly why all of these things are happening, right? Some of them, again, are being amplified by man-made qualities because what they're trying to do is just try to bring more destruction and killing off more people. But that's not the intention when these natural cycles occur. It is cleaning it up. It is vacuuming the floor of the earth, so to speak, to clean up a lot of these energies. So to answer your question, was a massive flooding in the Philippines caused by the natural storm Karina? Yes. And the man-made quality was to amplify it a little bit more. Okay, so that's the answer I got for that question. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to probably take about 1 or 2 more questions, then we're going to wrap up. Okay. So, Lena, I just did the information regarding Japan earlier, so we're going to skip that question. Okay. Okay, this one here is from a woo-woo woman. She asks, Brad, is there going to be a rift in the Indian Ocean, and will some dangerous gas be released? Is it connected to the alleged 3 days of darkness? Is that even real? Okay, well, there's quite a few questions here. So why don't we just stick to the main question, if there is a rift in the Indian Ocean, okay, or if there's going to be a rift in the Indian Ocean. Okay, so I'm going to look at the Indian Ocean's timeline, if it's lifeline, and see if there's any indication of a rift that's coming in. Okay. If there is, and maybe I can do some intuitive investigation into it, seeing what it represents. So here's the good news. Was there a rift? Yes. Is that rift dangerous? No. Okay. It has basically been contained. Okay. So this is kind of what I'm telling me here is that there was a sign of a rift opening up. Okay. These are basically indicating the processes of a rift happening in the Indian Ocean, but it feels like it's being, I'm not sure if it's being sealed up or if it's being contained. Okay. So I don't feel it's going to lead to the idea of something disastrous for the planet. I feel like, again, if something like that happens, there's also the other part of the balance, right? So these are, again, both balancing cards here that I'm getting, right? Even though I said like the Justice card represents an obstacle, like I said, to me, what I'm getting here is the feeling that it is going to be contained, okay? So the potential outcome is that there's safety, okay? It's going to be safety. It's not going to lead to anything pertaining to threatening millions of people's lives with gas being released or anything of that nature. So there's shifts that are happening all the time. Even when there's tectonic shifts, there are caverns that are opening up in the deeper recesses of the land, and water starts flowing in as well too. And so basically all these underground caverns that were originally empty that start opening up, you have billions and billions of gallons of water coming in. That's basically preventing a lot of additional flooding that should have happened that isn't. Okay, this is kind of what I'm talking about, is that there are going to be some growing pains. There is going to be some turbulence taking place upon the planet, but this is the lesser extent in comparison to the greater extent. If we had a greater extent happening, the entire world would be flooded, right? Basically, we would see lands all across the world basically being submerged underwater. What is happening right now is that these rifts are opening up as a favor. This is why I'm seeing some good cards here. Okay, this rift is opening up because it's going to function together as almost like a buffer. and it's preventing a lot of the lands that are upon the earth right now from being broken apart and being submerged underwater, right? Some of us have seen that there have been predictions of maps, again, or of statistics of thinking what would happen if there was a flood, a global flood, and that so many of the land masses would be sinking underwater. What I'm telling all of you right now is that these situations, just from what I'm getting, looking into the subtle planes, are being averted. Okay? We are looking at the lesser extent of what is happening right now compared to the greater. You don't want the greater. Okay? If there was a greater extent, number one, you wouldn't have a California left. Number two, you wouldn't have a New York left. Number three, much of the lands of the United States and of Canada would be submerged underwater, right? You'd probably be looking at least 50% of the landmass of North America submerged underwater if it was not for these significant changes that are being worked together through the nature of balancing, through the nature of intervention that's coming together that is preventing this from happening. So this is why I call it the lesser extent. Okay, this is the lesser extent destruction path rather than the greater extent destruction path, where if we were looking at all the land masses upon the planet, we could probably see about 30 to 35% or so submerged underwater. Okay, what we're seeing right now is the minimal extent that is necessary for these storms, for these earthquakes, for all of these particular forms of earth changes that are taking place, that are opening up caverns, that are opening up tremendously enormous vaults that are big enough to basically put gigantic cities into. And they're basically being filled with water, which means the underground is being filled with water rather than the surface. And that is sparing the surface, because there is a plan here, my friends. And again, this represents the idea of the shedding of the old skin and a new skin. Right? So many people were seeing doom and gloom relating to the entire planet, representing 30, 35% or even more of the world's landmass being submerged underwater with great flooding. And I'm telling you that the great majority of that is going to be averted because of where we're at. We're floating in grace, my friends. This is what I'm talking about with the intervention energies. And I've proven it again and again, talking about these certain things that have happened relating to intervention energies. It's unfortunate that we have these patterns that are taking place. It's unfortunate that we have this chaos that's taking place, but it is a lesser extent of a change that needs to happen rather than going for the greater extent to what a lot of prophets have talked about have been a horrifying situation. That's not going to happen now. Okay, this is why I'm getting so much of the positive cards coming in. Do you guys want the greater extent? Do you want the greater extent of this? Huh? Do you want to see large land masses being submerged underwater where billions of people are dying, where at least half the population of the planet would be wiped out? And that's not going to happen now. Okay, this is the lesser extent, my friends. This is why everything's happening the way it is, because something does need to happen. But what they're doing is they are redirecting and they are rerouting. They are redirecting and rerouting a lot of these disasters that are taking place so that underground caverns can be opened up once again, like what we're talking about here in the rift in the Indian Ocean. These gigantic caverns that are underground, that are large enough to put a New York City underneath, that's large enough to put a Tokyo, Japan underneath, are basically being filled up with water, right? It's all of these compartments that are contained underground. Everything is filling up so that the above land can be spared. That's what's happening. This is exactly what's coming to me, looking into the right brain, looking into super consciousness. Again, you guys have to come up with your own answers, but this is just the answer I'm giving you. That's why a lot of these things pertaining to, a flooded earth was supposed to happen 10, 20 years ago, right? Definitely around the time of 2000. It was supposed to happen, but it hasn't. And do you know why it hasn't? Because we have intervention. Because we are actually floating in grace. Because the human race is so incredibly important. We need as many people of the human race intact so that we can create a beautiful planet taking place, shedding away the old skin of corruption and bringing about a new skin, because the role that humanity is going to play in the future is gigantic. That's why so many of us need to be preserved. And that's the decision that has come from the higher order. That's the decision that has come from the subtle planes and that is trickling down here. Whether you believe me or not, doesn't matter. Okay, this is what I'm giving you. You guys have to make up your own minds. Okay, but this is what I'm getting to share with you. So that is exactly why for the past 24 years or so that we have not had anything that has been detrimental to the massive loss of life on this planet, because we are floating in grace. There is something about us that needs to be preserved for the future. That's what's happening. Okay, so woo-woo woman, yes, there's a rift, but that rift is something better that we are not aware of, that modern science cannot explain, that is actually going to be a salvation to helping the earth transform into something greater, where a lot of us can go with her. Okay, that's what I'm getting. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, guys, one more question. We got to wrap up. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, this one's from Alina. Alina says, Brad, with Florida and the Carolina state being recently confronting the flooding from Hurricane Debbie, do you see something threatening for the rest of the hurricane season for this region? Yes, there's going to be more hurricanes for Florida. Okay, I don't even need to look at the tarot for that. August and September are hurricane seasons. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be more threatening, but there is going to be more storms coming ahead for the east coast of the U.S., around Mexico in that sense. So I do feel that there may be either another hurricane coming, or maybe it's a typhoon or whatever it may be. But there is other storms that are on the rise. But like I said, guys, what you saw me do pertaining to the guided meditation, that's all you got to do. Okay, I need some of you people to be the leaders here and start working together with other people, or start joining together with other people who are doing those groups. Now, next week, I'll be back again. So if we do have any news of any other particular storms, so I'm feeling that, again, August and September are basically hurricane months. Okay, so we got to be on the lookout for that. So really the whole idea is that when we're seeing a hurricane, we can target it and we can absorb away a lot of its energy. Okay, but I really need to do that through kind of a guided meditation process. So just like we did today with California. So next week, let's take a look and see if there's anything that's happening in the news, if there's anything in regards to any other hurricanes, or again, powerful weather experiences. And if you guys want me to do some guided meditations next week, we will do some for a couple different places. Okay, so let's keep an eye out for that. But yes, from what I can see, there are more storms ahead for the east coast of the U.S. and Mexico. Okay. Thank you so much, Alina. Thank you, everybody, for your questions today. We are out of time, and I will see you all next week. Again, next Wednesday, I'll be back for the Wisdom Transmissions Live for the Dronis, and of course, with the Signposts next Thursday. Please pass on the shared point of this video with the meditation. That will really, really help a lot. Okay. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. Take care. See you next week. Bye for now.